Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I'm Pastor Matt Peterson, one of two remaining rostered leaders here at Trinity Lutheran Church. Welcome. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing here today. We are celebrating Pastor Simon at his retirement. We're going to do that in a few different ways. You're going to hear from some people who are going to say some words. We're going to have some video greetings from people, and there's going to be a few parts that, as Pastor Simon would like to say, are a bit of a giggle. So get ready for that. Just a couple of announcements. First of all, did you like the lunch? Was that okay? Yeah? You got enough to eat? Was everything seasoned well enough? Was it spicy enough? Those were requests from Pastor Simon himself. We are live streaming this program, so hello and welcome to those of you who are watching online. We're glad that you are here as well. And it is being recorded, so you can go back and watch it if you would like to, and if you happen to be one of the people that's saying something, it is being recorded. So just know that people will remember and hear what you have to say. We do have a lineup of people that are speaking, and, you know, we might be here for an hour. It's a little warm in here, so if you need to get up and move around and go into the cooler parts of the building, you're welcome to do that. If you need to use the restroom, you're welcome to do that. We are celebrating and talking about Pastor Simon, so if you do need to go up and leave, you won't miss much. There are a list of people who have been invited to speak, so there is not an open mic portion tonight. This afternoon. If you have been invited to speak, know that there is a reason that you have been invited to speak, and thank you for being willing to do that. And know that if you have not been invited to speak, there's a reason. What's that? Sure. Yeah. You shout it out. If you have a story or a memory that you would like to share with Pastor Simon after our program today, feel free to shout it from a distance. That would be great. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Okay. As I've known Pastor Simon a while, right? We first met about 21 years ago, and we have been lots of different places around the country. We've been to Denver together. We've been to Pittsburgh together. We've been to casinos together. We've been to bars together, hotels and restaurants, and all sorts of things, right? And invariably, when you're with Pastor Simon, and I don't know if you've had this experience, if you're with him and he's having an interaction with somebody in public, it doesn't take very long for that other person, whether they're a waiter or a waitress or a hotel staff person or an Uber driver, doesn't take very long for them to ask the inevitable question, "Where are you from?" Right? They find that they're very perceptive. They've picked up on an accent and feel that it's okay to ask the question, "Where are you from?" And if you've been with Pastor Simon, you know that often his response is, "Well, I'm from Moorhead," or "I'm from Spicer," or Morris, or Minneota, right? I mean, but eventually, people get around to finding the answer from him. And all of us gathered in this room, we know where Pastor Simon is from, right? All the way to us from London, England, Pastor Simon Fensom. And because of where he's from, we thought it would be appropriate to begin our retirement celebration in a royal way. So I present to you the retirement coronation of Pastor Simon Fensom. Please rise, please rise.
Nope. There's a lot of moving parts today, so. Oh, welcome everyone. I have been tasked with the video greetings, which we're going to open up with, that I've assembled for your viewing pleasure on the screen. But first, we had one written submission that I'd like to read. Hello, Simon. Sunday, August 31st, 2025 is going to be a very busy day for you, celebrating 34 years as minister of Trinity Lutheran Church in Moorhead and more. For all your years of faithful service as part of the ministry, there will be so many memories. Maybe a book is in the offing? Retirement is just the beginning of another amazing journey, and knowing you, you will have already planned the next days and months ahead. Wishing you and Nancy good health. Here's to new beginnings. Happy retirement, Simon, with much love from your cousins Joanne, Craig, Isabel, John, and Auntie Teen, your family in New Zealand, and cousin Nicola in LA. Now please turn your attention to the video screen.
Congratulations, Simon, on your retirement. What exactly are you going to do with all this spare time on your hands? Perhaps you plan to spend some time honing your culinary skills. Or take time to watch your favorite sport.
Guess there's always next year.
Now you'll have the chance to spend some more quality time with your lovely wife, Nance, and to reacquaint yourself with some old family friends. But most importantly, perhaps you'll actually make the effort to iron your underpants. Or perhaps it's finally time to set up the London office. Whatever you decide to do, we are behind you all the way. And we are super proud of everything you have achieved to date. We hope you have a wonderful day celebrating, and we can't wait to see you and Nancy very soon. Lots of love from all of us here back home in Blighty.
Hi, Simon from across the pond here in the UK. I'm sorry we're not there to join you on your special day. I was there in your ordination all those years ago, and you've been a true and dear friend since our teenage years. Congratulations on your retirement. This is such a special milestone, and I couldn't be happier for you. You've worked so hard and inspired so many people along the way.
Now it's time to enjoy life at your own pace, whether that's relaxing, travelling, or finally doing all the things you've been putting off. Wishing you health, happiness and endless adventures in this next exciting chapter. We look forward to seeing you in the UK very soon. Love and hugs.
Simon, another old bloke wishing you a happy retirement. For those that don't know, my name's Nigel. I first met Simon when we were in our teens, and we had some fun years together. However, obviously so much fun that he decided in his early 20s to go to the States, and he's never been back, really. That's over 40 years ago, and I'd like to say, Simon, you are still my best friend. Enjoy your relaxing days ahead. All the best, Simon.
Hi Simon, it's Nick here, your younger, better-looking brother. Wishing you all the best for your retirement, and we are looking forward to seeing you soon. Good luck to you, Nancy, because you're going to need it. Bye for now.
Simon, congratulations. Finally, you've retired. Gosh, who knew? Since 1977 we've known each other. That's a long time. And what a journey you've had, and what an interesting journey. And anyway, sending you much love and wishing you a wonderful retirement. And now I'm off to work. Ta-ta!
Hi, I'm Paul Fansom, older brother of Simon, and this is my partner, Ellie Fisher.
We live in Bergen, Norway, with my 2 children, Susanne and Øyvind, and a cat called Mona.
Sadly, I have known Simon since the day he was born. He was a pain then and remains so today. So, what can we say about Simon?
He's a kind person.
He's intelligent.
He is interesting.
He has a great singing voice.
He's a hard worker.
I'm sorry, Simon, I can't read your writing.
We are so looking forward to seeing you and Nancy next month when you come to visit us in my hometown, Bergen.
Many congratulations on your retirement, little brother. You actually turned out to be a great guy in the end. We're all very proud of everything you and Nancy have achieved so far, and I'm sure the future will bring a lot of joy and happiness to you both. Lots of love. See you soon. Hi, Dad.
You've gone a long way from an English chef to be a pastor, and it's a good thing. I do know that you have quite the gift of gab because you've talked a lot of people out of a lot of money at every church you've been at. And each church has had a building campaign and has been better when you left than it was before you came. I think you're a great person, Simon, and enjoy your retirement. Best of luck.
Congratulations!
Hi, Simon. It's Mumsy here. I am so sorry that we won't be able to be with you today. I do hope that you will have a lovely day full of happy and wonderful memories. I am so proud of everything that you have achieved and the way in which Nancy has supported you throughout. We are so looking forward to seeing you in September. Don't forget, you arrive on my birthday. We are planning a right royal celebration. God bless you all. Sending you all lots and lots of love. Mumsy.
So as you just saw, again, parts of this afternoon are going to be a bit of a giggle, and parts of this afternoon are going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit. So get ready for that. We have kind of set up our afternoon in a chronological order, so we've begun with Simon's beginnings on the other side of the pond from the origins in London, England, and we've heard from a loving family. If you don't know Simon's story, he then came over to the United States, which was intended to be for a short time, but he met a woman, Nancy, and decided to stay. And Nancy went to a church, St. Mark's in St. Paul, and the pastor of that church developed a relationship with Simon, and Pastor Walt Wheatsky is here today. And at this time, I'd like to invite him forward to speak. There's Walt. Oh, you're right in front of me. I'm looking all over, and there you are. So Walt, come on up and give us your greetings.
Be nice. As you were with me. Oh, move the mic. Well, I was back in June 91 when Simon's family and friends, they came over to St. Paul. And his brothers, they couldn't have been more excited because they also learned that there was the possibility of watching the big game, the World Bowl, between the London Monarchs and the Barcelona Dragons at Wembley Stadium. And it was going to be televised live on ABC. And then Simon broke it to them. It's my ordination day. And the Brits were not amused. But I think that that's why we're here today because, as you notice, there is no football conflict. There's no games. So, here we are. Okay, my friend. You came to us because, Nancy, you brought him to St. Mark. And he then discovered that there was, we had a little choir and we had some interest in, some leadership. And he said, well, here I am. Call me. And to our great gratitude, he turned an ordinary singing group into the likes of which I would compare us with anyone. And all of you from all your churches, you know how he just draws that musical gift out of you. For us, our voice was authentic, true, even without a wetted whistle. That means that we ended up at the Spot Bar a lot. All right, now here's the rub. He wanted to take Holy Communion. He was Salvation Army, as you notice. And as you might know, the Salvation Army does not recognize sacraments. And as you also might know, in the Lutheran Church, usually baptism precedes Holy Communion, and sacraments are real, and they're important. And Simon chose to argue. Why? What does this mean? Which led to a lot of discussion, and ultimately, fortunately, he had a bit of curiosity. And with that, a theological and vocational odyssey began, and I still remember, oh my word, the road trip to Windsor, Ontario, in which it was just filled with all the macerations and confessions of a minister-to-be. More on that later. Look, I can't say enough about the Salvation Army, which formed Simon. The dedication to soul-filled evangelism with distinctive presence in all mission and music, uniformed in humble service and always willing to be present in the most dire and tough situations. I admire my brothers and sisters in faith. And the truth is, down on West 7th, we were partners not only in spirit, but ministers in kind. Well, Simon, how did the whole transformation, the difference begin? For Simon, his understanding of grace was realized in the Lutheran way when he had to care for Selma Darsel, a one-legged, wheelchair-bound, homeless type parishioner of ours. Only grace alone could bring about that which passes all understanding. Knowing Selma gave Simon a completely new appreciation to be willing to be totally and literally washed, baptizike, in the real presence of God. And that's why he washes his hands every day. I baptized Simon. And it wasn't because of any decision. There was no decisions. It just was common sense. It just made sense. Just like Holy Communion. To be in the communion in a welcoming, loving way as a sign of that presence for all. It just made sense. It's part of our identity, his identity now. Now, what didn't make sense was our custom of lifting up the newly baptized to present to the congregation. My L4 and L5 have not been the same since. From there, I'll cut it short. You know, there was the hustling and the convincing of professors and bishops along the way. We'll talk about that later. But Simon, at your ordination, it was entitled, Your Ultimate Ministry. Well done, good and faithful servant. And Nancy, you deserve all the credit.
Thank you, Walt. And as we heard, Simon went to seminary through St. Mark. And as a part of one's seminary education, one thing that you have to do is you get to go on internship. Pastor Simon went on internship all the way over to the neighboring state of Wisconsin. And Margie Fisher is here from the internship congregation. So come on up, Margie, and send us a greeting.
I'll try. Good afternoon. As was mentioned, my husband Doug and I met Simon way back in 1989 when he was just a pastor wannabe with big glasses, a mop of hair, and a funny accent. The learned folks in charge at Luther Northwestern Theological Seminary thought it was a splendid idea to send the young seminarian from London and his lovely wife from St. Paul to the metropolis of South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to Trinity Lutheran Church for his internship year. You heard me correctly. I said the city of South Milwaukee, a small suburb of Milwaukee with a population of about 20,000 people. As new members of Trinity, Doug and I were very excited about having a new intern who would be living with his wife in the very small house that the church owned, literally steps from our church building. Perhaps I should have called it a small bungalow, a hut, a shack. Regardless, I'm sure they have wonderful memories of the free housing they had for a year. What's not to love about a basement with a dirt floor and congregation members knowing exactly what you're up to most of the time? Nevertheless, we became friends and created memories there together, including Simon saving our church's lighted Advent candle from falling over when all the kids crowded around it as it sat next to the baptismal font for our daughter's baptism. Our senior pastor had used her baptism as his children's sermon that day. We have videotape proof that it was intern Simon to the rescue. Speaking of our senior pastor, he served as Simon's supervisor that year, and unbeknownst to us, or anyone else at Trinity, as far as I know, Simon and he had a rather prickly relationship. Years later, Doug and I came to a full understanding that pastors are just like the rest of us when Simon referred to his supervisor with a slight twist of his last name. Pastor Needless to say, when said pastor called Pastor Simon a few years later to ask him if he was interested in the newly created associate pastor position at Trinity, Simon declined, and the rest is history. It has been a true blessing in our lives to count Simon and Nancy as friends all these years. We've been fortunate to visit them in a few of their previous congregations here in Minnesota, including the one without indoor plumbing. At least we had that in your house in South Milwaukee. We also had shared an amazing trip to London with them last year, along with a few other new friends from Moorhead and Spicer. We now live in central Wisconsin in the town of Rome. Simon and Nancy visited us a few weeks ago. Simon was rather excited to lead worship and to preach in Rome. Wisconsin, that is. While we no longer belong to Trinity in South Milwaukee, we bring well wishes from several members who still fondly remember a young intern with a funny accent. God bless you in your retirement, Simon. We love you, and good luck, Nancy. He's got a lot of spare time on his hands.
Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. I'm surprised that tiara is still on your head. Hello, everyone. We're Gregory and Catherine Fensums, Pastor Simon's children, and proud captains of fun. Growing up with Dad has been an adventure, from sermons to family vacations and everything in between. We've learned a lot, laughed a lot, and maybe rolled our eyes a little too. Today, we're excited to share some of that with all of you. We thought our contribution to this lovely program about you would be some fun and games. And to begin, we're going to ask you, Dad, 4 questions in a game we're calling, When Do You Say That?
Your first quote, you said to me, "You're pouring wine over there." When did you say that?
When did I say that? Today?
No. This was when I was 11 years old, right before the very busy 4 p.m. Christmas Eve service. Thank you.
All right, question number 2. When do you say, "I'm just resting my eyes"?
When was the first time I said that? Every Sunday afternoon.
And that's exactly right. Every Sunday afternoon. Growing up, it was a lie so bold it deserves its own commandment, and I still don't know how you could feel us touch the remote.
This next quote was usually delivered in the form of a text message. When did you text me, "Can you talk"?
Can you talk? I don't know.
That was every time you needed someone to listen to your sermon and Mom went to bed. For a bonus point, when did you call or text me and say, "You still up? Don't worry, it's not to hear my sermon"? Spoiler alert, it was to hear your sermon.
Hey, that's what kids are for, right? When did you say, "I hope you enjoyed that, because we're never doing it again"?
So many, many times.
I was specifically thinking about the time we went to Monster Jam for my 13th birthday. It was at the Metrodome, and we both learned that day that Monster Jam is not, in fact, a quiet spiritual experience.
That's all for When'd You Say That, but don't worry, we'll be back to embarrass you later.
Upon Simon's completion of seminary, he received his first call to Southwest Minnesota, Minnesota, and we have Larry Woolrobbie with us, who has known Pastor Simon for quite some time and has served in a number of ways, including on our Southwest Minnesota Synod staff. So representing your first call, among other things, we have Larry Woolrobbie. Come on up, Larry.
I like paper, but my printer isn't working. So some young'uns taught me that I could put something on here and it would, oh, there it is, okay. I am so glad to have this opportunity to share my deep appreciation for our retiring senior pastor, Simon. And why in the world am I on the program? And I think you already hinted at that. I think it's because I may well be the member of Trinity, paper doesn't go asleep, the member of Trinity who has known Pastor Simon the longest. How so, you might be wondering? Well, you see, I first met Simon 34 years ago, soon after graduating from my alma mater, Luther Seminary in St. Paul, in 1991. Along with other ELCA Sem grads, Simon had been assigned to the Southwestern Minnesota Synod for his first call, because at that time, I was an assistant to the bishop in that synod. It was my duty and my delight to help Simon get his feet wet in ministry. When I first met Simon, one of the things I found so refreshing was to meet a Sem grad whose name wasn't Anderson, Carson, Johnson, Larson, Nelson, Peterson, or some other Scandinavian surname. Simon's last name, you're probably noticed, ends in S-O-M, Fensom, not in S-O-N. Because you see, as has already been abundantly clear, he's a Brit who grew up in London, that huge, sprawling metropolis in southeastern England. When Simon immigrated to the U.S., he was struck by how relatively small the Twin Cities metro area was, which is why he said one time in my hearing that Minneapolis was sort of a cow town. Would I lie about something as precious as Cowtown? I'm not smart enough to make up something like that. So, anyway. And he was comparing Minneapolis, of course, to his home town across the ocean. Soon enough, Simon made his way to a real cow town in Minneota, Minnesota, with real cows, where he embarked upon his first call, at a 3-point Icelandic heritage parish composed of St. Paul's, Spring Creek, and Hemnes congregations in Minneota. Talk about culture change for Pastor Simon. Looking back now, it would appear that all three of Simon's Minnesota congregations Simon's Minneota congregations have either closed or have affiliated with another ELCA synod or another Lutheran synod, which reflected not at all on Simon's ministry, but rather the turnout, the turmoil was churning out in southwestern Minnesota in the early 90s over issues around human sexuality and ELCA relationships with other churches. and that was a challenge. How wonderful it was, though, that in 1994 and thereafter, Simon had a chance to serve 2 very healthy congregations back to back for the next 19 years. Congregations, both of which happened to bear the name of Faith. Those towns were Morris for 6 years, followed by Spicer, where Pastor Simon served for 13. In retrospect, both of those happy and protective pastorates prepared Simon superbly for the challenge of and promise for the opportunity to become our senior pastor here at Trinity, our 18th senior pastor in this church since 1892. So, enough of that from me. Okay, here we go. So in closing, let me simply say a big thank you. Thanks for your cheerful personality, your deep wisdom, your energy, your musical gifts, your preaching ability, which was on full display this morning beautifully. And now God has a new gift for you, the wonderful gift of retirement. Take it for one who's done that and is enjoying it every day, including opportunities like this. God bless you all. Take care. Oh, yeah, I would take a little. Yeah, that really is for people who are 3 feet tall.
Your captains of fun have returned. Chugga chugga. Our next game, game number 2, is called Pastoral Acts. We all know that you have done a lot in your years in the pulpit, weddings, funerals, sermons, and more. But exactly how much have you done? In this game, we will attempt to find out.
Question 1. Over decades at the pulpit, Dad has opened prayers, greeted congregations, introduced reading, and delivered countless sermons. Of all the things he said in front of church, the formal, the familiar, the ceremonial, what have you said the most? No, it is Amen. He's said it so many times, it makes all the other classics, Let Us Pray, The Gospel of the Lord, and Good Morning sound like warm-up acts. Amen takes the crown every time.
Next question. You've spent decades in front of the church guiding couples through one of the biggest days of their lives. So we have to ask, how many weddings have you presided over? His guess was 150. By our math, we said 170, which means you've heard canon in D more times than anyone should in a lifetime.
Question 3. We've all seen Dad at the front of church officiating weddings, blessing marriages, but how many weddings have you been the groom in? 2 is the correct answer. Our dad technically was married twice, but that is one too many. If you didn't know, love knows no borders, so he did it twice. The U.S. edition and the English edition.
For our final question, question 4, let's talk about the other side of ministry. How many funerals have you presided over? His guess is 350. We figure 408. He's done so many funerals, he no longer says, dearly beloved, he just says, welcome back.
And that's a wrap on Pastoral Acts, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back later with round 3, and trust us, the fun and mischief is only getting started.
Following the first call in Minneota, Minnesota, Pastor Simon received the call to his first of 2 congregations named Faith Lutheran Church in Morris. And we have with us Vicki Dosdahl, who's going to tell us a little bit about your time at Faith Lutheran in Morris. Take it away, Vicki.
So I visited with Pastor Simon before the service started, and I asked him, I said, are you nervous today? Well, I have total control of the service, but the afternoon I don't. So you know how nervous he must be to not be in control. So first of all, I'd like to say congratulations on your retirement from Faith Lutheran at Morris. We were certainly blessed to have Simon and Nancy at our church, and we got to see both children born while they were at Faith. So, and what lovely children. So, anyway, when we talked, I was talking at church about it, that I was going to this retirement party. And they said, is he any easier to understand? And I think you are. I think you've gotten better, yeah. And of course, we all appreciated his quick wit and always having an answer for something. I fondly remember, well, I started going to Faith in 93, and in 94, I became a member of Faith. My boys were old enough to start kindergarten. I have twin boys. And the first Sunday they sang at Faith, my parents were there, and they went to the church I grew up in. And so I introduced my parents to Pastor Simon. And my mom said, oh, we'll be here every Sunday the boys sing. Without skipping a beat, Pastor Simon said, we'll have them sing every Sunday. I remember that to this day. That was so special. And Catherine, I want you to know that I was in the kitchen getting ready for a Lenten service or something, and the phone rang, and I picked up the phone, and it was your dad. Who am I talking to? I said, this is Vicki. Would you listen to this sermon? So I'm in the kitchen, and I'm thinking about all this stuff I have to do, and I'm, yeah, okay. Oh, it was really good, yep. So you're not the only one, so. And then I got on church council while a pastor was there, and right after the first meeting, Simon came up to me and he says, gosh, he says, usually first-year council members, they never say anything for a year. Like, really? I'm Norwegian? You expected me to be quiet? So, and I was on the education committee also, and Pastor always had a way of coming in late with that same old grungy mug. I don't know if he's gotten a new one since or not, but he would always come in, and it was auntie this and auntie that, and off he would go, so. And then one of the other things that I think about is one of the favorite Christmas songs, Go Tell It on the Mountain. And every Christmas program, there was Go Tell It on the Mountain. And thanks to you, every time I hear it, I think of you, whether that's good or bad. And now my granddaughter has decided that's her Christmas song, and she really belts it out. So that's a fun memory. And then, you know, I didn't realize how lazy Pastor Simon really was. So he takes a call at Faith Lutheran in Spicer. Just think of that. He didn't have to learn a new name. And he wouldn't make a mistake, right? So anyway, I came with a few props today. If you're all aware, when Pastor got to Spicer, there was a major building project down there. And I had been down there, and he was quite proud of everything that he'd done, rightfully so. And of course, I knew he was up here and there was a building project going on. And I thought, now, did he mean to be an engineer or an architect or a construction manager? So I'm a little concerned that you won't have enough to do. So I got you a set of Legos. And I couldn't find Legos that have a church, but it's got the old city trolley on it, so a little bit of London for you. And being that you'll have a little bit more time on your hands, I thought you might enjoy coloring Minnesota and be able to tour more of Minnesota. But please stay in the lines. So, and last but not least, food was always important. And I'll never forget, we were serving a funeral, and we had egg salad sandwiches. And I decided some lettuce would be nice on the sandwich. He was so excited that he got lettuce on the egg salad sandwich. Never forget that. But then you all know that scalloped potatoes are his favorite food. So at his going away party at Faith, it was Mother's Day. So we had been out, my parents and sons and I had been out for lunch, and they had scalloped potatoes on the buffet. So I brought him some, because I think you were a little tired of scalloped potatoes by that time. So I have a large supply of scalloped potatoes here for you. And if you don't appreciate those boxes, this is sliced potatoes. So all you have to do is open up the can, remove the liquid, and add some whole whipping cream, and you'll have Kunzvinger scalloped potatoes. Thank you.
Indeed, Pastor Simon went from one Faith Lutheran to another 25 years ago. Pastor Simon began his tenure at Faith Lutheran Church in Spicer, Minnesota, and it was at Faith Lutheran Church where I first met Simon as I joined the staff there in 2004. Our first meeting was an auspicious one. We were to meet at a restaurant called Hoagie's, and Pastor Simon told me that it was in Cokato. So I drove into Cokato, Minnesota on Highway 12, drove all around the town looking for Hoagie's, couldn't find it, and stopped at a gas station, asked where it was, and they said, oh, it's in Dassel. It's the next town over. And I found the Hoagie's and found Pastor Simon, and that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship. Indeed, indeed. And from Faith Lutheran Church in Spicer, Jay Haug serves in many capacities, has served as congregational president, among other things. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, Jay. So come on up.
Thank you. I prefer not to use technology either. My printer worked. So I'm here to put you to sleep, not to have the device go to sleep. Anyway, when I got the text from Pastor Matt to say a few words about Simon, I thought to myself, man, they really must be desperate. They can't find anybody to talk, so they're down to the Norwegians on the list. Anyway, thank goodness I canceled a few things so I could be here today, with my busy schedule. Anyway, growing up in the Lutheran Church, I always thought of pastors as being rather bland. Sorry about all you pastors. Nondescript people with personalities that, you kind of knew 1 or 2 hours a week. And I felt they could see right through me. My lack of mastery of the Articles of the Creed, Nicene or Apostolic, and that I couldn't flawlessly recite the 10 Commandments. And that's really what mattered to them. I certainly didn't think I'd ever socialize with the man of the cloth, specifically one raised in such knowledge and refinement and structure as the Salvation Army Church. But then came Simon. I first met Simon when I was on a call committee. We had interviewed him one week and then went to Morris to listen to him preach the next. And after the service, as we were being ushered out, he quietly whispered to a gal on the committee, "I'll meet you at the toys." And so that gal gathered us all up, a little flock of ducklings, and she said, "I think he wants to meet us by the nursery." So we're standing back by the nursery, and he comes back there and laughing and says, "What are you guys doing here?" And she said, "Well, you said meet us by the toys, not the toys, meet us at the toys." Well, not the nursery, the restaurant. Anyway, must have been that damn English accent that got everybody screwed up. But after that encounter, it's amazing that he accepted the call. So I went, as the chairman of the call committee, I went back to church, as is what you do, and I presented the call and said, "We really got to call this guy. He packs a lot into a sermon, so buckle up." And they agreed, and we called Simon. To me, Simon was a pastor of firsts. First man of the cloth I ever considered socializing with. You know, I didn't know you could. The first pastor I had a few beers with, decompressing after council meetings. The first ringneck, as I call them, the guys with the collar, I ever celebrated New Year's Eve with. You haven't heard the story? So we were having New Year's Eve at our place, and it was just a quiet, it was a quiet night, and, you know, had a few libations, some food, and it got to be 1 o'clock, and Simon said, "You know, I need some fresh air." So we went outside. Now, mind you, it's 20 below. Went outside of my house, walked across the driveway. I slipped and fell into a snowbank, and Simon, after he got done laughing, made his way over to me as only he could, and reached down and said, "Here, I'll give you a hand up." He reaches down, gives me a pull, slips and falls right on top of me. So after surviving that crushing blow, we made our way back into the house, and thank goodness, I could just see the headline in the paper the next day. Pastor and church council president found nearly frozen to death in snowbank with blood alcohol of 2.0. Anyway, back to the first. Simon really was the first true visionary that I'd been around. He dreamed big and pushed hard. He made Scandinavians think outside the box and actually get things done instead of pushing it off. He was demanding, and he got things done, such as selling the old church, relocating, completing 2 building projects for a whole new church campus, and it grew our church beautifully. Starting the Link, which was kind of like a thrift store and a food shelf combined for the new London Spice area, starting Tuesday's Table, a community garden. He grew our choir like he did everywhere else, and ultimately we ended up performing a couple of musicals, including Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and Noah. And then he took us on the road. We went to England, and we sang in several cathedrals, and in fact sang in front of the Salvation Army Church, which was quite an honor. Well, the list goes on and on, Simon the Visionary. But I had no idea that this visionary thing included me. Me, church council president, are you kidding me? Doing stewardship talks in front of the whole congregation, playing the part of Pharaoh, dressed in a one-piece Elvis-like costume, on loan from a junior high theater. And when I complained that it was just a wee bit tight and short, Simon said, "Well, just don't bend over, you know." Then playing the role of the Axeman, like Jack Welch, you know, letting go, or as I like to call it, firing 4 staff people because they really weren't living up to expectations. Sitting on a dunk tank plank for Rally Sunday and having people throw softballs at me to try to raise money for some project. And the list goes on and on and on. There's so many more. But through it all, Simon just kept saying, "Don't worry, you'll be fabulous, darling." He talked me into so much. You can't talk about Simon without talking about Nancy. Nancy. Don't tell Simon, but between the two of us, you've always been my favorite. Sweet, charming, refined, and a whole lot less pushy. You're also giving and generous. I mean, look, anyone who would sacrifice their own seat on a transatlantic flight so he could get his derriere on is a keeper, especially since it was he who made us late for the airport. But I'm sure you enjoyed that flight the next day. Quiet, nobody around, a chit-chat. It must have been wonderful. What a kind-hearted sweetheart you are. A wonderful mother, accomplished seamstress, artist, sounding board, friend. I don't know how you did it, because Simon's not your 5-day, 40-hour-a-week, be home at 5 kind of guy. I've never seen anyone pour more of himself into a career, or as Simon would call it, a calling, than Simon did. And that just meant more had to fall on you at home, and you did it with such grace. So finally, in closing, Nancy, I don't see Simon slowing down anytime soon, so here's my advice. Make a list day one of the top 10 things he needs to get done that week, okay? And number 2, you just go out and join a book club, a wine tasting group, quilting group, whatever you want to do, so that while he's planning the next trip itinerary, you've got things to do. And number 3, you decide when it's time to leave for the airport.
You'll be pleased, this is our last game for today. Our final game is called You've Been Everywhere, Man. We're taking a little trip down memory lane to see how well you remember some of the places you've been. From your earliest apartments to wherever you managed to misplace your last wallet. Get ready, we're about to test your geography and your memory.
Question 1. Before our dad became the master of sermons and weddings he is today, he was mastering a new skill, living in a small town. Let's see how well he remembers his roots. What was your address while living in Minneota?
It was on Lion Street, and it was St. Paul's Lutheran Church on Lion Street.
You were so close. It's 412 East Lion Street. I'm sure there's some days at your second point in Spring Creek Lutheran that you could have been both pastor and half the congregation.
Before you were Pastor Simon, before all the sermons and the weddings, there was young love. On your very first memorable date, where did you take Mom?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show in Hennepin Avenue.
That is correct. And Mom still agreed to go on a second date.
Question 3. Family road trips were always an adventure with Dad behind the wheel. Some trips were smooth and some, well, tested everyone's faith in physics. Can you name the city in Iowa where our brakes failed while on a family road trip?
Was coming back. No, not Waterloo. Oh, it's just south of Des Moines, no, on the east side.
It was Davenport, Iowa. Nothing says family bonding like praying out loud at 60 miles an hour.
And finally, where were you when you sneezed over a plate of beignets and blue powdered sugar all over the room.
I was at the National Youth Gathering in... Whoa. My...
That would be at Disney World's Port Orleans Resort. A memorable trip where you invented your own Disney attraction, Sugar Mountain.
That brings us to the end of You've Been Everywhere, Man, a whirlwind tour of every place our dad has called home. But in all seriousness, behind every sermon, every wedding, every adventure, and yes, even every misadventure is an amazing dad. We love you, Dad, from us children, all of us children. Congratulations on your retirement.
Now, these kids were born in Morris and grew up as children in Spicer, and then Greg graduated high school and came to Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota, and Simon and Nancy followed him here. So we come to here, Trinity Lutheran Church in Moorhead, Minnesota, and I'm going to first invite forward a former congregational president, Mark Jensen. Come on up.
College professor. Come on, I can't keep things short. While others have done a lot of looking back, I've chosen this time to help you look forward. So, Pastor Simon, it's my understanding that you're retiring but still plan to fill in at other churches from time to time. So, that means you'll still need to periodically write a sermon. I've been told by several friends who are retired that they're busier now than they were before retirement. So, you might find it hard to find that extra 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it usually takes you to write that sermon. So this is where I'm here to help, and I have 2 words of advice: artificial intelligence. Now, as a college professor with tenure, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make AI do my job for me. How to make me better at my job. Sorry. So I'm here to share with you a little bit about what I've learned. So first, understand there are many, many AI tools for you to use: ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, Grok, etc. Second, it's important that you frame your question to the AI tool properly. This is what's called prompt engineering. So to get you started, I've gone to the work of using some of these tools or chatbots, pretending to be you, and writing prompts that you might use to write a sermon. So listen, and then you can decide which chatbot you think is best. And one note, the AI responses are real, but they have been edited for brevity, something you might want to consider from time to time. So first, this is your question for Grok. My name is Simon. I'm a Lutheran pastor. My congregation thinks I'm very smart. And I must say they are correct. I am British, after all. I'm writing a sermon about wisdom. How can I dumb this down for them? Grok says, Simon, as a British Lutheran pastor, you've got a knack for wisdom, and your congregation is already impressed, and rightly so. For a sermon on wisdom, the key is to make it relatable, clear, grounded in their everyday lives without losing its depth. Here's how to dumb it down, though I'd say it's more about making it accessible while keeping it engaging. Start with a story. Open with a simple, relatable anecdote. Maybe a time when you made a foolish choice. We've all been there, even brilliant Brits. For example, say, I once tried to fix a leaky pipe to save myself a few quid and ended up flooding the vicarage. Wisdom isn't about knowing everything, it's about knowing when to ask for help. Stories stick better than abstract theology. Your wit and British charm will carry the delivery. Just don't overdo the cleverness or they'll miss the point. Okay, now we move to Claude, the next chatbot. And this is what you said. My name is Simon. I'm a Lutheran pastor. My congregation thinks I'm very funny. And I must say they are correct. But I'm writing a sermon for Good Friday, and this will be very hard for me. What advice do you have? Well, Simon, says Claude, Good Friday sermons do present a unique challenge, especially for pastors known for bringing lightness and humor to their preaching. The weight of the crucifixion doesn't lend itself to your usual comedic touch. Yet that doesn't mean that you have to lose your pastoral voice entirely. Consider that your congregation knows you as someone who brings joy and connection through humor. That's part of how you shepherd them. On Good Friday, you're shepherding them through something different: grief, sacrifice, and the darkness that precedes the resurrection. Your authenticity in wrestling with this shift might actually be more powerful than trying to force a completely different preaching style. Okay. Now for the last one, we turn to ChatGPT, the most well-known of the chatbots. And here's what you said. My name is Simon. I'm a Lutheran pastor. My congregation thinks I'm very handsome. And I must say they are correct. I'm giving a sermon on humility. This will be very hard for me. What advice do you have? ChatGPT says, Simon, that's a fantastic setup for your sermon already. You've got a built-in tension between topic and personality that you can lean into with a touch of humor and self-awareness. But here are a few pieces of advice. Name the irony. Humility is easier to teach when you admit up front that you don't have it perfected. You could say something like, preaching on humility is difficult for me. I tried to find someone more qualified, but after looking in the mirror, well, here we are. You could redirect admiration. Since your congregation already thinks you're handsome, you could play with that. Say, they tell me I'm handsome, but humility requires me to tell you, God made me this way. If you think I look good, give God the credit. That is from ChatGPT. So Pastor Simon, anyway, I hope this is helpful for you. I know I speak for myself, Matt Lyseth, who you'll be hearing from shortly, other past council presidents have had the privilege of serving with you, that we have looked forward to your eventual retirement with great anticipation. No, it was trepidation. Sorry, it was trepidation, not, that's what happens when I try to go off script. No, but I mean, personally, while I joke about it, I've appreciated your wisdom, your humor, your humility, your authenticity through many exciting times and some challenging times too. But most of all, I've just appreciated your friendship, and I look forward to many more years of that. And I wish you and Nancy all the best.
Thank you, Mark. Simon has served with, I think, 9 different congregational presidents here, 7 or 9, several different congregational presidents here at Trinity. We decided to distill it down to 2. So that was 1, and now Matt Lyseth.
So I conducted a little poll, and here are some of the answers I got. Unflappable, bubbly, kind, funny, creative, and the patience of a saint. These are all words that described my favorite American fencum, Nancy. As Jay said, Nancy, you are a gem. And for those people at Trinity and every parish before that didn't get to know you, they really missed out. You are really one of a kind. We just love you so much. All right, so on to my favorite fencum. Simon's sister, Allie. Allie, if you're watching, you know I love you. And Janelle and I are making a proper British tea, just like you taught us, so you should be proud. Allie came along many years after Simon. So, Simon was this established kid in 3-boy household. And I'm sure he was believing that he was the favorite, the best child that ever happened. And then Allison comes along. And if you've had the chance to meet Allison, she is a gem. A couple of years ago, she spoke the lessons for us after Catherine and Dan's wedding. She was so much better than Simon. I mean, really, just really has a handle on the British tongue and just so nice to hear. And so she's just wonderful. And, and at that time, poor Frida was forced to choose. It wasn't very hard, but she chose Allie as her favorite. It's very clear, even to this day, about just how wonderful she is. And so you may ask, so why am I bringing up these three wonderfully powerful women? And I'm going to add daughter Catherine to this too. Because they made Simon work so hard. He had, with people like that around him, he was just working so hard to impress them, to be better, and he just kept improving himself. And that's just who Simon is. And we, all of us from every congregation, really got to enjoy that because every congregation he's gotten into, he's worked really, really hard. And for us at Trinity, I think a lot of people, and I've heard it along the way, they'll say, well, Simon's legacy, and they want to point to a building. And yes, that happened. But the biggest piece that we overlook is how we got there. And for me, transformational pastors don't just join the congregation, they reshape them so more people can rise. I think that's really what Simon has done for us here at Trinity, and I think from those that I know from his past parishes, he's done the same. And through that process, having learned how to really work hard as a child, and all the way through his ministry, all of the things that had to be done to help us rise to get to the final product. Years and years, I think of our path from 2020 visioning to dream teams, to building committees and capital campaigns, and working through and having the message. That doesn't happen easily. And if it was, every congregation would have brand new facilities every time a pastor showed up. This is really hard work. And I was always one to remind him that he worked like 2.5 hours on Sunday and then, was kind of done after that. But there was a lot going on to make that happen, to reach out to all of us, to inspire us to do just a little bit more, to figure out how can we be part of that bigger plan. And in the end, it wasn't Simon's plan, it was our plan. Isn't that great? Someone else brings it and gets you to believe it, and then starts to carry the banner, carry the torch. And that was just a wonderful thing that you brought. And for that, I thank you. I thank you for your leadership, for your friendship, for everything that you have brought to me, to my family, and to this congregation. Simon, you have fought the good fight, and you have finished the race, and you have kept the faith. You're my mate. Thank you.
It's one thing to have a relationship with a pastor as a parishioner. It's another to serve on a council or as council president. In those situations, you get to see how the sausage is made, so to speak. But as you serve on a staff with a pastor, you get to learn where the meat for the sausage comes from. And so we have Jan McCormick with us, who's got some intimate knowledge of where that meat comes from. Jan.
Thank you, Matt. I didn't hear that. Okay. When I received the email inviting me to say a few words about Pastor Simon today, I immediately said, yes, I would love to. I mean, really, how often does one get a chance to make jokes about a senior pastor? I may have made some comments about him at my retirement a few years ago, but then he gave me so much material over those 9 years we worked together, I thought, why waste any of this stuff? Go back with me 12 years. The Trinity staff was busy getting ready for the arrival of the new senior pastor. Now, this is a big deal. There are so many details to pull off the transition from one senior pastor to another. Everything was going to plan. His office was ready, new computer, new password, keys, we were set. Then there was a deer. That's right, a deer came crashing through a window, up the steps, down the hall, into the church office, crashing through another window, trapped in the courtyard below. Oh my goodness. You know that organized welcome I had envisioned? Well, it flew out the window with the deer. Pastor Simon walked the wibbly-wobbly way his first day into the chaos of a major cleanup effort, complete with a traumatized staff. His was indeed a memorable welcome to Trinity. I'm sure he was thinking, there was bloodshed at the Nell Gwyn tea rooms last night. Right now, Simon is sitting there wondering what I'm going to say next. He may be a bit anxious. He may have even cringed slightly when he saw my name in the program. I love it. Those of you who know both Simon and me well know that we have totally opposite work styles. On the Myers-Briggs, I'm an ISTJ, while Pastor Simon is more an ENFP. Now, you can't get more opposite than that. He's a creative visionary with lots of fluidity. Me, not so much. I'm more about planning and organizing the details. Let's look at it another way. It's December 24th. He's tweaking Christmas. And I'm planning Ash Wednesday. These opposing styles resulted in frequent requests of, let's have a chinwag. I grew to love those chinwags, which ultimately enabled us to complement each other's style. Today, he remains an ENFP, and I'm still an ISTJ. In all seriousness, thank you, Pastor Simon, for your years of ministry and dedicated leadership. During the past 12 years, we have all been a part of some exciting things. The wibbly-wobbly way transformed into the beautiful Trinity Commons. That was no small feat. I wish you and Nancy well, and I hope all goes tickety-boo in your retirement.
I have a special odd ode today. Our granddad, Ray Fensom, was known for his odd odes, and our dear Auntie Allie took one that he made for Dad's 50th birthday and just tweaked it a little. A message from the Fensom family. Dear Simon, how we'd love to be with you at your retirement tea, but fate decrees we can't be there, and well, we can't afford the fare. But we have happy memory of times we've spent at Trinity with you and Nancy, Gregory Tall, and Catherine, how we miss you all. Since you've arrived, of course, there's been an increase in the family team. With dearest Abby, Jordy, Dan, you must be such a happy man. The lovely Nancy, we must say, has been beside you all the way. Of her our praise cannot be faint. She has the patience of a saint. It's been so long since you departed, leaving us quite broken-hearted. A fortune great to seek and seize out there in the colonies. 'Twas good of them to let you in so that your full life could begin. And what a joy we have received in seeing that you've all achieved. We're proud of you and glad you went. Your family is heaven sent. Your friends are great and oh so kind. We see now what God had in mind. Minneota, Morris, Spicer, your churches could not have been nicer. Ending up at Trinity, a place where you were meant to be. You leave this church at Trinity, fit for the 21st century, a larger building, a welcome sight, and folk who witness be a light. Be proud of all you have achieved, God's blessings you have long received. But don't slow down, we'd like to bet, He isn't finished with you yet. We send our love, congratulations, we're with you in your celebrations. We'll see you soon, we cannot wait. God bless you as you celebrate.
And no celebration of Simon Fensom would be complete without a song. So we transition into some music from Andrew and Michael and Kristen and Gregory and Catherine themselves. So get ready to listen to some musical melody.
Simon boy, the pints are called from Junkyard West to Piccadilly Square, and now you're free to move about the cabin as you fly home and terrorize your mom. And don't come back to church for a while now. No, really, you can't be here for a while. Even though you're gone, you can still remember us. So here's your card to help us pay for phase 2. Oh, Simon boy, you've been here through our changes, our many highs, and shepherded our lows. You've carried each of us in prayer and spirit, and shared much laughter where'er you go. But come you back when England has grown tired of you. We're sure that Taj will close while you are gone. With grateful heart we send you every blessing. Dear Simon, thank you for a ministry well done.
Well, I see that we're pushing 90 minutes. We're not quite there yet, but I've got an over-under on 90 minutes, so I will wrap up pretty quick here. But we have been through a lot together, you and I, Simon Fensom. 2004, we met at Hoagie's in Dassel, and spent 7 years together in Spicer, Minnesota, and 11 years here at Trinity Lutheran. I've been ordained 21 years as a pastor. 18 of them I've worked with you. And we've been through a lot. We've been through some different hairstyles together, from mohawks to permanent waves to shaved heads. We've dressed up like clowns together. We've been on the road together, like I said, Pittsburgh and Denver. We've been to a lot of places together, conferences. We have consumed a lot of beer together, right? Over the years. I don't know, we counted up the funerals and we counted up the weddings. I don't know if we could count up the kegs of beer that have been consumed between the two of us. And that is my gift to you, because that will continue. We will still get together. We will commit fellowship, in your words, right? And 99% of the beer that we've had together has been on your dime. My gift to you. Going forward, I'm paying for it now. So there we go. There we go. But you get that question a lot, like I said at the very beginning, right? You were standing in the back, so hopefully you heard that, but you get the question of, where are you from? And inevitably then, that leads to the question, as we have conversations with people that are near us when we're having beer, or that are around us in hotels or different places that we are, they get to the next question is, so what do you do, right? And if you are an ordained person in the room, that is a very dangerous question to answer honestly, right? If you let people know that you're a pastor, you get into some really weird conversations. And so we have made a pact, or I've learned from Simon, that when somebody asks that question, the proper answer is, I teach, right? Yes, I teach. There we go. Because it's not a lie, really, but it avoids some of those questions. So what do you do? I teach. And it's also true for you. You do teach. You have taught. The 18 years that we have worked together, you have taught me everything that I know about how to be a pastor, right? Seminary teaches you some stuff. You get to know some Bible things. You get to know some worship things. But really, the ins and outs of everything that we do, I've learned from you. So thank you for teaching. Thank you for your mentorship and for your relationship with me. You have not only taught me, but you have taught literally thousands of people in the congregations that you have served, from St. Paul to Minneota to Morris to Spicer to here in Moorhead. Thousands of people have learned about God, have learned about you, have learned what it means to be a pastor, but more importantly, what it means to be a person. So thank you for your teaching and for all that you have taught to me. Well done, good and faithful servant. Amen. Amen. Come on up now. You are receiving a gift from me in the form of beer, but we, as a congregation and a staff, have some other things that we would like to share with you. I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Hatfield.
Is this on? Okay. Yes, thank you. So we have a couple of things on behalf of staff and council that we'd like to present to Simon today. First up, as we referenced in our song, your favorite restaurant being Taj India in Fargo. I actually went there yesterday to get this gift card and decided, well, I've never eaten here, so let's do that. So we ate. It was great. And then I went to get the gift card, and she said, oh, have they been here before? Otherwise, I'll put a business card in there. I said, it's Simon. She said, oh. So we have a gift card for there. And then we also have, we've talked about how there's that picture of the stained glass. There's probably 15 copies in our art room downstairs. So we thought instead of that, we wanted to give you not only something that wouldn't take up wall space, but a different piece of art. So we had a custom puzzle made of one of your favorite mosaics. It should keep you busy when you're bored tomorrow. All right, one other gift just to, throw in there. That tiara that you got, you could probably hawk that for like $8 if you need something. So that's the tiara. And then a gift for both you and Nancy. We know that you'll be traveling, of course, very shortly to England and probably more than once in the next coming year or two. And so we have gone and purchased some day passes for airport lounges so that you can travel in style together. And then last but not least, like I said, we didn't necessarily need to give you the print of the stained glass, because you could just take that if you want. It's right up there. But instead, we commissioned a piece of art by Trigvi for you. And it's quite lovely. So in it is the brand new building with Simon in front of it being a light. So...
Do I get to respond, Pastor Matthew? Oh, okay. While you're showing off the artwork. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for those who organized this gentle roast. It was maybe very nervous a couple of times, I will admit, but it was good. I just want to, acknowledge those from St. Paul's, St. Mark Lutheran Church. What a grounding in the faith, becoming a brand new Lutheran, and the way they loved me into ministry. Ultimately, the people in South Milwaukee, in spite of my supervisor being a gentleman of Christ, the congregation were phenomenal and affirming, and tremendous experience to go back to seminary, finish up there, finish up also at St. Mark, and then off to Minneota, Minnesota. Larry, I would never use a phrase like Cowtown. I want to be very clear about that. I may have said something about, I thought Minneapolis, St. Paul was a small town until I went to Minneota on that line. But God bless the people of Minneota, rural Hemnes, and rural Minneota, and then Spring Creek, which was a rural Clarkfield. Because in those three congregations, they loved Nancy and I to death. And my Lord, it just cemented that we were in the right place. We stayed out in southwest Minnesota, going up to Morris, and a lot of that was due to the fact of the warm welcome we had in small town Minnesota, which I'm so glad to have many of you here from Minneota today. And God bless you for coming all that way. I'm very grateful. It's such a shock to see you coming through today, but thank you so much for being here. People in Morris, Minnesota, they survived me 6 years. We had our ups and downs in Morris, but God bless them. A wonderful congregation, sending us on, building us up to go to Spicer, and then 13 glorious years there. And I thought I would live out my time at Spicer, to be very frank, and then God had other plans and ended up here at Trinity Lutheran in Moorhead. Goodness gracious me. And what a glorious 12 years it's been, people. I am so, so grateful. Grateful enough that I have purchased you a gift here at Trinity. This is a framed, it's the original of a poem that I got commissioned on the South Bank in London when I was there last May with one of our groups from Trinity. I went up to him. He was a poet for hire. He said, "Pay what you want." I watched him set up his little stand, and he sat there for about 5 minutes, and then he had clients coming up, and he was making up these poems, and I thought, I can buy a poem, and I did it. And it cost me $10. I said, "Will you take a tenner?" And he goes, "Sure." And he took $10 from me, 10 pounds. I walked away, and I went to the side to read it, and I read it. And I was so moved by it. And the people were coming out of the Globe Theatre at the time, the group were. I wasn't going to go around the Globe Theatre again, trust me. Anyway, we were coming out, and here I am bawling over this piece of paper, and then I took them all along and introduced them to the poet and whatnot. So that was very touching. I then asked, actually, Nancy asked Abby, our daughter-in-law, to create some art around as a frame here, and she's blended in Trinity buildings here with the Tower of London Bridge and the Globe Theatre and some flowers and shrubbery and whatnot. You'll have to take a look at this, but I give it to you. You don't have to hang it up, but it's a gift from me to you. I want to read it for you as well, because I think this summarizes more than I can. Trinity Lutheran Church. We know one thing for certain. We know that there can be no community at all without a place to meet, without a hub, without a place like this, without a pattern to our lives, without shared values, without this roof over us and this service, without the light in at the windows, without this bright, hard radiance, without this friendship extended to everyone, without this welcome and this tradition, without this honoring of the past and this faith in the future. This is the place we come, and these are the people we join with in silence and in song. This is our practice of love. This is our little corner of Minnesota. This is our community. This is what we cherish. I want those words to live on for this congregation and all the congregations I have served, indeed. They are, I think, words that God put into this gentleman's mind at the time, and blessed to be a blessing. So I share that with you. I want to say a personal word. Andrew Steinbeck has been an antagonist for me for the last 11 years, the organist here at Trinity. That poor man has had to put up with an awful lot of my whining and my moaning and this and that, but he has been just a brick all the way along. I've never seen him cry till today. I didn't think I could ever make him cry, but he cried today, so that was nice. But thank you, Andrew, for your service. What a pleasure to work with you. I need to thank all the staff that I've worked with in every parish that I've served. I have been very blessed to have great staff and great support. And I see some of you here from Trinity today, and I thank you. It has been a wonderful ride. I've loved it, and I've felt the love that you've had for me, and I just appreciate that. I appreciate you, Kathy, and your support. She's a deacon here. She was the youth director here for many years at Trinity, and she has been terrific along the way, propping me up when I needed it, and God bless you for all you've done for me. I also want to just thank Pastor Matt as well. We really have been a tag team all these years, and God bless him. He's an awesome dude. We're like brothers from another mother, you know what I mean? We've really, you know, we're different. We're very different people, but I tell you what a thrill that's been for me. And as much as he said I've learned from him, he learned from me. I have learned indeed from him. And I want to thank you, Matt, for all the gift you've been to me and to my ministry in that time. Scott, you're crazy, but it's good to see you here. Now, in fact, are there other survivors? Scott, you can stand up. Mark, are you here, Mark Kopka? Nope, stand up, stand up. Matt, you can stand up. Walt, you can stand up. Are there any other clergy here who've had the pleasure of working with me and survived? Thank you to these people as well, because they've been a part of my experience. I know that they have a secret survivors club. I know that goes on in the world, but thank you for all of you being here as well. I'm going to miss something out, and I'm sure I have already, but that's life. I do want to thank my kids, Gregory and Catherine. You have been awesome pastors' kids, and you have just, I don't know, from the get-go, you know, my wife comes off really sweet and all of that, but they were, I think it was 2 and 4 when we moved to Morris and that first Lent. We moved to Faith in Spicer. It was the first Lenten series, and Nancy was really angry at me for something. I can't even remember what it was now. But she said, you're going to have to take care of them at the Wednesday night service. And I was like, gee, thanks, honey, you know. And I took them to church, and I plonked them in the front row, and I said, don't move. Like this. 2 and 4, mind you. And bless their little hearts, they didn't move for 45 minutes. We got through the service. Everybody was focused on the 2 of them in the front row, like, watching them, waiting for the balloon to burst. But from the get-go, you have been awesome kids and love you to death. You know that. But I know some of the sacrifices you've had to make along the way. And I thank you for doing that so graciously and for making my ministry what it could be. You, lady, come on up here a minute. This lady is actually responsible. This is more than 50% of my ministry, let me tell you. I am who I am because of this lady, the love she shows me, and unconditional love, and the many, many times you could have smacked me in the face and walked away. But God bless her patience, and God bless her faith as well, because of it's together that we've done this, and I love you for that, and so does God love you. Okay, darling. All right. It's done. Sit down. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You thought you were going to get the last word. Ha, ha, ha. All right. I don't care that we've been at this for almost 2 hours right now. I got the last word, so I hope you're still comfortable. I'm kidding. On a serious note. Maybe not too serious, but Ecclesiastes 3 says, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Well, I've worked with many senior pastors. Is that statistic true that there were 18 since 1882? Is that true? Okay. Oh, this is number 5 that I've worked with. And I started as a 14-year-old. So, but anyway, I've worked with many senior pastors, and they all had their seasons. 12 years ago, a new senior pastor came, and so began the season of Pastor Simon Fensom. And what a season it has been. I am so thankful for this season. Oh, I'm going to get through this. A season of learning a whole new set of English phrases that I now find rather helpful, and thanks to Bishop Bill, I don't need to repeat any of them. But number 1 that several of you said, things are tickety-boo. And there's always something to get sorted. I really love that phrase because it's true. It's beautiful. And add me to the list. Who hasn't listened to one of Simon's sermons before he preaches it, right? Do you have just a couple minutes before worship? Oh, sure. Okay. No, that was a privilege, Simon. It was. I mean it. A season of change, of dust, construction, and transformation. A season of being valued and challenged with new ministry opportunity. I have been ordained as a deacon since 2005, and Simon was the one who gave me the opportunity to grow even more. God bless you, and thank you. You changed my life. Okay, a season of laughter, of not taking life too seriously, even when life is so serious, and I thank you for your gift of humor. That kept us going on many occasions, Simon. You know that, because what we do here, a lot of it is really serious. A season of camaraderie, friendship, and fun that I know we're going to keep having for years to come. And a season of faith, trust, and hope in God for all that ministry holds. I am so grateful for you. We are all grateful for you. Sometimes Simon would be in the hallways saying, remember, people, Jesus loves us. So thank you, Simon, for everything. You will be missed. I will miss you. We will all miss you. And now a blessing. And so I would like to invite Nancy and your family to come up. Matt, would you like to come up? If somebody else feels like, I want to come up, come up. I'm all about including everyone. But this is a blessing for Simon. For everything, there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. There's a time to arrive and a time to go, a time to work and a time to rest, a time to be called and a time to say goodbye. There is a time for pastoral ministry, a time to visit the sick and grieving, a time to lead worship and preach sermons, a time to officiate at funerals and weddings, a time to gather people together in meetings, a time to lead and shepherd in all circumstances, in the hurly-burly of congregational life, and there's a time to let this all go. This is the moment. This is the transition, the poised point. It's a time to say thank you. Thank you, Pastor Simon, for your guiding presence here at Trinity and in our community. Thank you for the way you've cared for us in every season, even when sometimes we have been hard to love. Thank you for your diligence in studying Scripture and discerning God's words for us in this time and place. Thank you for leading us through a transformative building project, clarifying our mission, opening us to possibility. Thank you for your commitment to fairness and inclusiveness. Thank you for your wisdom and for being a role model for us, for reminding us that Jesus loves us. Thank you for your careful attention to the background details that helped hold us together. We give thanks, too, for your supportive family who sacrificed a lot for our community. We are so thankful for your years of service and that God called you to be our pastor. And as we say goodbye after this ministry, well done, it is a time to bless you on your way. May you find time for rest and relaxation after all this work. May you find time to reflect on what this ministry has meant in your life. May you find new opportunities for living out your faith that use your gifts and give you joy. God has blessed your coming here. God is blessing this goodbye. And God will bless you as you go from here. Go in peace with the love and gratefulness of our whole congregation. Amen. Now I'd like to invite all of you to a little role reversal here, okay? So all of you, on the count of 3, are going to say to Simon, go in peace, be a light. We'll see if he responds properly. This is a test, all right? Go in peace, be a light. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go in peace, be a light.